Hi all, in this video we are going to learn the basics about cloud computing. Here we are going to learn what is cloud computing and where we are going to use this cloud computing. Everything we are going to discuss in detail from scratch level in this session. Let us quickly understand what do you mean by cloud computing. Cloud computing is nothing but using of compute services over the internet. This is the simple definition of cloud computing. But before we deep dive into the cloud computing, we just need to understand one small thing, that is on-premises data center. What do you mean by on-premises data center? In the name itself suggests on-premises indicates the data center which we had developed inside of our office premises. Here I am going to write on-premises data center. Okay, just we will have a quick look on it. I'm going to show to you some kind of sample image regarding how the data center will be there. Just click on images. Here, this is a kind of image. This image shows how the data center will be there. If we have developed this kind of data center in our office premises, that will be called as on-premises data center. Here, what do you mean by data center? The data center is nothing but group of servers. Generally, we have n number of applications in our organization and n number of services we are using. So generally, the servers are using in order to run our services, in order to deploy our infrastructure, means in order to deploy our applications. So if we have group of servers that will be in a one single room or in one space, that will be called as data center. Okay, hope you guys got my point. Okay, why? What are the disadvantages if I develop my on-premises data center? It means if you want to set up your on-premises data center, you need to procure the hardware. As you know, the server is too much costly. It's cost a lot. And at the same time, if you're deploying the server, it needs to occupy some kind of space. Means you need to provision the space for the data center. And the maintenance, it's continuously need AC 24/7. You need to take care. And you need to take care about the power fluctuations. And you need to dedicatedly deploy some kind of manpower in order to maintain the data center shift wise 24/7. If there is any failure happen, then you need to replace the hardware. There are a lot of things if you have the inbuilt data center. But how these limitations will be avoided by using the cloud computing? Means if you are using the cloud computing, means remotely the service provider of the cloud are going to set up the data center for you. You just need to pay for them. What the services you want to use, you are going to pay the services only for that only. And the maintenance part will be taken care by the cloud service provider. And at the same time, the manpower will be taken care by the cloud service provider. The maintenance, the security patches, everything will be taken care by the cloud service provider only. Simply from your end, what you need to done is you simply need to select what kind of service you want, and whatever the service you want, you are going to pay for that only. Suppose if you procure one hardware and after 1 year the project is done and immediately you are not able to send the means to resell the product because of it losses too much, because of while procuring any hardware it costs too much, but if we want to resell the service, if you want to resell the hardware, it didn't. Generally the organizations are not at all supposed to resell the any kind of hardware within a limited period of time. They are going to only scrap. Okay, but for scrapping the assets it is taking too much time. But it's a cost is matter here. The procurement of hardware is not at all so easy. If any failure is happen, we need to raise a request for that. We need to have some kind of delivery guidelines are there. We need to wait for some time until it gets delivered, and we need to configure ourselves. Everything is manual. But whenever we choose the cloud computing, there are a lot of options. Simply we can create our infrastructure over the cloud. Whenever we don't want, then we can dismantle it. Okay, whatever the resource I had used, I am going to pay for that only. Okay, this is about the cloud computing. And in this, you have one more topic which you need to understand is nothing but virtualization. Virtuali Virtualization. What do you mean by virtualization? Virtualization is nothing but slicing of high-end resource into the small parts. I'm going to show to you in a theoretical, in a pictorial diagram. You will have some kind of better clarity. Okay. Then I'm going to open the paint. Okay. Suppose assume you have a bare metal server. What do you mean by bare metal server? If you have server without having any OS, bare metal server. Okay. Yeah. You have a bare metal server, means it's a simply server. You just procure a server without installing any OS on top of it. That will be called as a bare metal server. Suppose if you deployed any OS on top of it. Okay. OS is nothing but operating system. Here what operating system we are going to apply? Server operating system. Okay. What you will be deployed? Server operating system. Fine. So if you deploy operating system on top of the bare metal server, you can be able to run the application on top of the operating system. Suppose if your bare metal server having the capacity of 32 GB RAM and 2 2 TB of hard disk. Assume that your bare metal server has a capacity of 32 GB RAM and 2 TB of hard disk, but your application only consumes 12 GB of RAM and 500 GB of hard disk. The rest of space will be underutilized. It is not utilized. Suppose if the hardware is not effectively utilized, the costing becomes difficult for us, for organization, because of even though if you are not using the hardware fully, you are spending lot of money on infrastructure. You are using only 12 GB of RAM, but here there is a 32 GB of RAM. Here you are failed to use the hardware effectively, means it cost, as you know, the server cost is too much costly. It impacts lot of burden on your organization. Here what organizations are think, so if I have the server, I need to effectively use the server, means effective utilization of hardware. How that will be possible? Here that at that point only the virtualization comes into picture. What virtualization will do? Here what virtualization will do? Here instead of deploying operating system, what I am going to do, I am going to deploy virtualization software. Virtualization software. So what is virtualization software? So by using the virtualization software, I can be able to slice the high-end resource into multiple services. Like I am going to create on top of the virtualization software, I am going to create the VMs. What is the VM? VM. Okay. VM means nothing but virtual machine. Okay. Fine. I'm going to create the virtual machines. That may be Windows virtual machine or that may be any other virtual machine. Just a moment. I'm going to show to you. Yes, I'm going to select this, copy, paste. paste, paste. That is my choice. The operating system which I want to deploy on top of the VM is my choice. So what are the different type of virtualization softwares are available in the market? Suppose if you take the Azure as a cloud service provider, the virtualization software used by the Azure is what? Hyper-V. I'm going to write here. For Azure, what are the software used? Hyper-V. For AWS, what are the Hyper-V? Xen-based customization. Xen-based customization. And GCP, Google Computing Service. GCP, Google Cloud Platform. What it is used? KVM. And VMware. Remember this word VMware, it is mostly used for the on-premises data centers. ESXi. ESXi. These are the virtualization software used by the different cloud service provider. There are a lot of virtualization software there, but among those, these are the main important which used in the real-time market. For Azure Hyper-V, for AWS Xen-based customization, for GCP KVM, for VMware ESXi, for Citrix also Xen. I am going to write here Citrix Xen. Okay, fine. So let us have a quick look at here. So with the help of the virtualization software, I'm going to deploy on top of the bare metal server. So on top of the virtualization, suppose if you assume you had deployed Microsoft Hyper-V. On top of the Hyper-V, you can be able to create the n number, means whatever the server capacity is there, based on the server capacity, you can be able to create those number of VMs. So each VM act as an individual server. Even though you have the individual server, but on top of the server, you can be able to create the multiple servers like VM1, VM2, VM3, VM4, like 1, 2, 3, 4. On first mission, I'm going to deploy Ubuntu OS. On second mission, I'm going to deploy Red Hat. On the third mission, I'm going to deploy Windows. On the fourth mission, I'm going to deploy some Linux mission as well. So even though the operating system which you want, choose your wish. But on top of the virtualization software Hyper-V, I can be able to create the VMs based on the server capacity. I can be able to run all the missions at a time. Means each VM can be act as a single server. Here the effective utilization means here 32 GB of RAM is there. So I'm going to share. How I will be share? I'm going to share 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM, 8 GB RAM. Instead of using the 32 GB RAM for the single operating system, I'm going to create the 4 servers on top of the bare metal server, and I'm going to distribute the VMs. To the VMs. Like for VM1 it is 8 GB, for VM2 it is 8 GB, for VM3 it is 8 GB, and for VM4 it is 8 GB. Here means the effective utilization of software is possible. The effective utilization of hardware is possible with the help of the virtualization software. Here we have the two types of virtualization that are there, type 1 and type 2. Here type 1 means on bare metal, means on if you deploy the virtualization software on top of the bare metal, that will be called as a type 1. What is type 2? Type 2 means if you deploy on top of operating system, on top of operating system. If you deploy on top of operating system, that will be called as a type 2 virtualization. Fine. So you just need to understand this virtualization topic, because of this is the basic thing. Effective utilization of hardware will be possible with the help of the virtualization. In the earlier days, the VMware started the virtualization by using the ESXi virtualization software. So on top of the virtualization means on top of the virtualization platform, we can be able to create the n number of servers based on the capacity of the bare metal server. Okay, fine. So how many types of virtualizations are there? We have two types of virtualizations are there. The one is hardware virtualization, hardware virtualization, and the second one is software virtualization. Software virtualization. These are the different types of virtualization software. Uh, these are the two types of virtualizations which are available. If you virtualize the hardware, that will be called as a hardware virtualization. If you virtualize the software, that will be called as software virtualization. Okay, and if you adapt the cloud computing services, what advantages we will get? Security features will be taken care by the cloud service provider. Based on the demand, I can be able to create the service or delete the service, and highly reliable and service. I am going to get uninterrupted service. Mostly it is not going to provide the downtime. Maybe there is a little bit chances, there is 0.1 or something chance. Okay, everything will be taken care by the cloud service provider only. Okay, fine. So here in this session, I'm going to cover lot of things like Azure along with the Azure DevOps. Just to have a quick look on the Azure certifications. So what types of certifications are available over the Azure? I'm going to share one document with you. So this is the certifications which are available in the where Azure. So once you have learned the course, you need to do some kind of certifications. The Azure Fundamentals AZ900. This is the fundamental certification, but it is optional. If you want to do the certification for the AZ900, you can do. Otherwise, you can ignore. But it is not mandatory. Suppose if you are looking to be an Azure Administrator Associate, then you must and should need to do AZ104. No worries, I am going to provide the dumps to you. That will be definitely helpful for you while attending this kind of certification programs. Okay, and there are a lot of things. Only Azure Administrator and Azure DevOps Engineer only work on the Azure? No, there are n number of services are available in the Azure. So based on the services, there are different types of certifications are available, like Azure Administrator role is 104, and Azure Solution Architect Expert Azure 305, Azure Network Engineer Associate AZ 700, and Azure Server Hybrid Administrator Associate AZ 800. Like suppose if you want to work on the Azure AI Fundamentals, that is AI 900, and Azure Data Fundamentals DP 900, there are a lot of things. And coming to here, AZ 400, just please have a look here. I'm going to point out to you. So where is our Azure? Yes, here Azure Developer Associate. If you want to go for the Developer Associate, you can choose AZ204. But here in the sessions we are going to cover DevOps Engineer Expert AZ400. So if you entirely finish these sessions, then you will be you can be attended to the following like AZ900, AZ104, and AZ400. These three certifications you can be able to attend by attend these sessions. Okay, hope you guys understood. And there are a lot of things are there. So regarding, there are different like artificial intelligence, like machine learning. There are Microsoft developers. There are a lot of certifications are there. So everybody is not doing the same certification now. Based on their interest, they are going to do their particular certifications, and they will do their activity in the tasks only. Okay, this is all about the Azure certifications. Okay, I am going to share this certificates to you. Don't worry, I am going to share each and everything with you along with material. I think everything I am going to share with you. Don't worry about that. Just please focus on the sessions. What I am going to do, just please understand the concept. And if you have any queries, please do not forget to post on the comment section. Whenever I am free, I am going to address your queries. Definitely I am going to address your queries, don't worry. Okay, and whoever is interested, please ping me your email ID in the comment section. Accordingly, I am going to add your email ID to the Google Classroom. Then accordingly you will have the access to the material or content which I am going to share with you. Then while practicing the things, it will become easier for you. Hope you guys understood. And we will meet up in the next session with the new topic. Signing off. Thank you. Bye bye.